Okay. Do you know how many episodes we have?
I think about 135.
Wow, okay. All right. Good afternoon. Welcome to today's segment. I think this is our 135 episode, and today's topic is one of my favorite, uh, the complex, the green lady slipper orchid. And how many of you have grown complex lady slipper orchid before? Okay. Now, one of the reasons I like about the complex, the green Bordeaux type is they always flower early. Of all the complex hybrid, the Bordeaux type, it flower for Christmas. And we are a little bit late this year because we have a heat wave in October. So what are the so-called complex Paphiopedium, or the common name is called the Bordeaux. They got a name, they got a head like but the Bordeaux. This type of hybrid is actually started about over 100 years ago by at the England, Scotland, and then later on most of the Europe. And there's mainly primary three species involved, and I have two of them flower right now. Uh, the Paphiopedium sanderi, which is a green, and they also have the Paphiopedium spicerianum. Now, spicerianum is a species from India. Okay, remember, India is at one point is the colony of the British Empire, and another one, which is I just found this about 5 minutes today, is Venostum alba. Okay, so this is rarely seen. So you can tell they're getting from the Venusian alba, the species, getting to this compact. It takes over 100 years, okay? And of course, they also involved with the spicerianum. So if you have any of the Paphiopedium, you notice that both of them, the species have in common, the green complex usually have thinner leaf and longer than any other type of color of the complex. Okay, and that's because the species. And also look at the back of the dorsal on the spicerianum. Okay, this is why some of the hybrid of the complex, this is the very dominant trace. Look at this one here. So if you see this, you can always guess. If I give you a test to my student or species test, this is the species, the spicerianum, the species. This is the one the species contribute to this halo effect on them. All right, but then, in fact, this is a new trend in the last 10 years because everybody go under light. Everybody has smaller space, and the complex Paphiopedium that we have today, the big Bordeaux, they are actually all tetraploid now. They are four set of chromosomes, so they grow slower than the species, which is 2N. So there's a new trend now. This is one of the perfect example of the complex, the solid green crossed with spicerianum. And that way, they can cut down the size, the leaf size. It's more compact. And the disadvantage is because spicerianum have the trace of very, very thin spike habit. So that is a negative fact, but it is very fast growing. So another new trend is also we complex with Paphiopedium henryi. Okay, so they cut back and try to bring the what we call the teacup size smaller, and I believe I have some here. Okay, this is actually a registered hybrid. It's called Incham Gold, and so it's complex green with the species called henryi. And how cute is this? Again, uh, they should have a little bit too long a leaf for it, but it's very compact for the size. Okay, so this is another example of the modern green. Okay, again, you can see the spice violin, the white halo. In Japan, they actually breed for, some people just love the contrast in the white. There are some like solid green or the green apple look. Personally, I always like the green halo for contrast. And because the spice violin influence, they're always going to be longer stem on this. Overall, if you the Bordeaux type fit in nicely because they fill in this gap of you. Usually by our regular Phalaenopsis, the big standard type are just spiking. So a lot in our collection, there's a lot of time we had this empty gap from November to February. So this is why people like, and I personally like to grow Paphiopedium because it's green, it's very Christmas. So if you go Paphiopedium, the green type, okay. Again, I always say never buy the eyelash size. I don't care if how inexpensive they are. Okay, always buy at least near mature size, at least 6 to 8 inches. Those are at least 2 to 3 years out of flask. And if you never grow the Paphiopedium before, always buy the mature size. Okay, mature size means they are at least 3 years old, like this. Okay, this is the typical size of mature size we sell on the west at our company. About minimum 3 years old. Okay, and this is the new Fang. It takes about 3 to 4 years for the single growth to fully mature before they even flower. So if you get a really tiny eyelash size, it's not going to do anything until that take the 3 years to get to the leaf span. So it's all going to start from here. And the modern hybrid is so good now. This is why you always buy from a good vendor with a good breeding, the pedigree, for example. This is coming to spike right now. Okay, it's actually giving you another new spike. This is actually, if you grow it well, it's actually capable to spike again, to flower again from the new growth from this shoot here, and that will be usually for Easter. Okay, and especially if you go under light, get Jeff's light, follow my program with normal socket fertilizer and make it dry. This is what happened is they are vigorous. They are what you feed them. They not only produce, they actually unlock their genetic potential. You have this spike coming up, and usually when you see the spike at this stage, it takes about 2 months. Okay, so be patient. This is the low spike stage. Usually the best stage for us to ship. We can also ship in puffy bud. Okay, there's another term we use. It's called puffy bud, like this. The puffy ready to open. Okay. As far as the growing media, 80% of my complex Paph grow in the fur bark. Douglas, I like to grow Douglas fur bark. If you like to have kiwi bark, that's good. But kiwi bark, the new kiwi bark is very, very dry. So it takes a long time for them to, kind of activate it and pick up the moisture. If you are using kiwi bark, I would recommend to add some of the Spanish orchid, the good quality Spanish not pea moss. You can add chunky pea moss, or you can add the New Zealand moss or cherry moss in there to mix it up in there. I think Linda Lee Earl do that a lot on her mix, which is work well for her in Virginia. Everybody's different, so find out the mix that work for you. And once it work for you, don't change. I don't care if people brag about how well they do in lava rock. Okay, yes, they might work in Hawaii. Okay, there's rain all the time, 80% humidity. it not necessarily will work for you when you go indoor in Phoenix, Arizona, or for me in Southern California. So the basically is you want to have a mix that is going to hold moisture and also give the air space. Okay. Now we also in recent year, because in Southern California we are actually have a lot of water issue water issues. So we've been experimenting with the moss. Okay. And you might think that, oh, well, there is no space. There's no, might not have enough air in there. Yes and no, but the moss itself, it works like a sponge. They actually have a lot of air space in there, especially when they're drying out. So as they're drying out, they start to release and expand. There's actually a lot of air. The problem with a lot of the orchid in the bark, in the fall in particular, is problem like this. Okay, this is a perfect example of what we call flower bud brasted. And the reason it caused this is, okay, by November, and November, the night temperature already is going down, and we actually try to. The plant itself can go down to 50, no problem. In fact, they need that initiation of low temperature, and at the end of October to initiate flower spike. But since they are growing the orchid bark, and we have a heat wave. October can be still very hot during the day in November. So what happened is we had to water, like either water, you have to keep up with the watering because they are in the bark. So they very dry out very fast. And in this particular case is, when we have a really hot, dry day, sometimes we will turn on the overhead mister just to cool off the temperature. So that in your case, you might be misting your orchid at home. Always be careful and make sure that they will dry. They get to dry out by evening. This is not bad, but I want to show it to you what can be happen. This is the case of, well, guess what? They did not get to dry out, and the water I should collect in here. So I'm going to peel this off, and Jeff can actually focus on this if you want. This is the perfect example of fungi infection. Okay, the water goes through here, and since they are enclosed, so they actually they got wet. Okay, perfect example of perfect storm. The fungus spore happen to germinate with the help of the moisture and the water as a lubricant, and they penetrate, and that's why, boom, you lost it. So this is a tool I recommend. The best way is cut off this ASAP. Don't worry, and then put it in the trash can, seal trash can, because they might have fungi in there. And I'm going to wipe my hand with this Clorox disinfectant. Okay, so this plant, don't worry, because it still have the new growth coming up here. So once you cut it off this flower spike, all this energy is going to channel to this new spike. So I will get the new spike put this soon. Okay, all right. So this is if you go under light, or you can. It's nothing wrong with misting the flower, but be careful when they are in bud. Try to keep the flower bud dry as possible, and also you can mist the leaf for humidity. So that is the problem associated with it. Okay. What about spiking? In general rule, this is actually a perfect example, and don't worry about the yellow leaf. This is part of the growth cycle. People always say, oh, what happened when I hit yellow leaf? Well, guess what? Look out your window. The tree does turn yellow when the leaf turn yellow and then fall off. This is part of the orchid physiology. So don't worry about it. It's not disease. It's just dropping off. I usually like to leave it alone. That way plant will send back the nutrient and the plant will detach itself versus I'm trying to, the only time I will try to cut off the leaf and give it the physical cut that might be sometimes have a physical cut, have infection is, we have to sell the plant or you have to go to orchid show and you cannot have a ribbon judging with a yellow leaf like this. That will cost you a blue ribbon. All right. So in this case, I'm not going to open this. The flower not going to open until another 6 to 8 weeks. By then, this leaf already yellow, detached, and there's no marking on that. Okay, so a lot of time on the Paphiopedium, whether it's a complex, it's actually there's an issue of too early staging. Okay, a lot of time when we put a bamboo stick, if you that would actually cut into the flower stem. Sometimes it hurt the stem. The flower bud might burst it. Okay, so it's actually best to at this stage still do not don't just leave it alone. It's actually good to have at this kind of 45-degree angle tilted that way. You only spike when the flower bud is what we call the puffy bud stage. Okay, and especially on some of the hybrid, they have a thin flower stem. Okay, if you don't spike it, they're going to be flop over on the floor on 10 degree, 15 degree. As long as they have 45 degree, they can support themselves. All right. You notice that we still just staking. Okay, we just put the bamboo or wire, and a lot of time you can just tilt it, put it here. You do not want to put the bamboo and force them to go up. That's too early because what happens is they will become tilted that way. It had the angle effect. So you do not want to. You kind of leave it alone below what we call the ovary here. Okay, this is the perfect stage to get, and that's just to let the flower slowly and fully mature. Okay, and a lot of time from this stage to fully open, that's another 2 to 4 weeks. Okay, so this is why the Paphiopedium is kind of fun because even though they only flower once a year, and this time of year from December, November to this February, March, but the flower can last 3 months in the whole stage. So this is actually a nice orchid to add to your orchid collection to fill out this winter gap or winter blue when you don't have orchid around. And another nice thing about this kind of Paphiopedium is they can take low temperature. In fact, they need the low temperature in the fall to flower. So if you have a greenhouse, bless you, put this type of orchid at northeast of the greenhouse where the cat is too dark for cattleya. Put it close to the window, put it close to the fiberglass on the wall where it is too cold for Phalaenopsis, for some of your tropical orchid, they will love to be there. Okay, so you have microclimate in your area. So find a good spot for it, and the microclimate in your greenhouse will be different between spring, summer, fall, and winter. And so this is the time to move all your complex Paphiopedium with green, red, white to more light. Because they can benefit from more light to give you more flower. And another thing about the green complex is the white. White Paphiopedium is very rare, and they have to have using the green onto a white to make the white Paphiopedium. So this is why here's another Paph. It's actually originated from Orchid Zone. Again, you see that resemble? Thin again. Okay, so we will do a different topic on the white complex Paphiopedium, but the early season of the white always have a lot of the green in there, and that's why it always have the more narrow on this. Okay. What about fertilizer? Okay, fertilizer is all the same with the rest of your phalaenopsis. Very simple. We still water every other week. Okay, if you grow in the bark, this is the time. If they in spike right now, do not let them dry out. If they're too dry, the bud will burst it also. Okay, feeding is essential this time of the year for this path. This is some of the older leaf. Okay, if they turn yellow like this, that's okay. This is also the indication to me that this is actually got too dark. Put it in a too dark or greenhouse in the summertime, so that the leaves kind of leggy. Okay, so you can. But since we put it to the brighter light in the fall, don't worry, they're not going to burn them, because the intensity of the light during the winter time is much lower and softer. You notice that they got a new two shoot new ground for this coming up. Okay, all right. So this is why it's important to get in more light and also keep up with the feeding. Okay, all righty. And they usually don't have a lot of problem with pests. The sometimes mini bug get onto the back of the flower list. Flower strip do not like him, because if you like flower strip will like a lot of your vanda flower. They're just too waxy. It's not tasty. It's hard for them to chew on it. So that's why Paphs is wonderful to grow as an indoor plant. Alrighty, so how about repotting? Do not repot this time of year. The only time you repot your Paphs is after the flower. Okay, and for complex, they should be finished by March, because so you want to finish all your complex, especially the green one, because they flower early for December. You want to finish by Easter, because they grow faster. Okay, if you cannot repot them by 4th of July, leave them alone, which is what I did. Okay, if I repot them after 4th of July, they are going to spike in. And if I repot them, they're going to give it a setback. That's too short a window for them to spike up for you. So the rule of thumb for green Paphs, the complex, is to repot them by Easter. And Easter change every year, but usually could be March or April. Okay. Other than that, I think I go over everything. Buy the biggest plant that you can afford. Never buy eyelash seeding, at least the near mature size. Okay, they are more forgiving for you to try. Water, always, this time of the year, never let them dry out, especially if they are in the bark. Okay, they actually, I have customers very successful grow this type of Paphs in South Florida. Remember the Metonopsis? They reverse. When they're hot in the middle of the heat in the summertime, is what they do vegetation, they actually reverse. So this is the time, if you're in South Florida, they just put it in the house, go under light as a house plant. Okay. Now, when you have a winter snap, you got to move all your vanda in, because the cold front is coming. This is the time for them to put all this complex outdoor, kicking out of the house. They will enjoy the cold, and they will really reward you with more flower. So this is actually, when you get the program going, yes, you can grow this kind of complex in South Florida. And with the modern breeding onto some of the more miniature species coming up, especially the teacup side, there are more warm tolerant complex coming to the picture now. So bless your heart, this is a fun time for you to grow Paphs this summer now. All right, thank you for joining us, and this will be the last tapping of the year. So I want to wish you and your family a happy holiday and happy orchid growing. See you in 2024.
And in Florida.
And I will see you in Florida at Tamiami show. If you're in South Florida, come visit Norman. Okay, bye-bye.